What is up, everybody? This is my one bar dragonknight build that I've been messing around with lately. I built it because I've been grinding in Infinite Archive, and running the same heavy attack sorcerer gets boring. And I do like heavy attack builds. I am a big advocate for them because it makes you do high damage and it's just easier to play. I'm not going to say this is in the same league as the sorcerer right now because of how broken the Sork shield is, but I will say that it is a phenomenal build. I enjoy it thoroughly, and if you want to just do dungeon damage, this thing works great. So let's get into the build, and I'm sure you guys will love it. So I am running Imperial. Imperial is not required for this build. You can definitely run Dark Elf, High Elf, Orc, anything that's going to give you some damage passives and just something you'll enjoy. Again, this isn't a min-max build, so there's no reason to pick a specific race for that matter. I personally like Imperial because a lot of my characters will go in and out of being PvP, and I like Imperial because they get cost reduction on their spells. So, for magic, 45, health, 19. That puts us just shy of 25,000 magic and 29,000 health. Stam is just under 19,000. We've only got one Stam skill, so it's not a big deal. We have all these since it is a one bar build. We're running the Thief with Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Again, Sugar Skulls, not 100% needed. It's just if you have the recipe, they're just a big buff to health, stam, and magic, and it gives you health recovery, which for these heavy attack builds, I just like. Anything that's going to give you a buff to your health and magic will do great here. So for our skills, I'm running Blockade of Storms, Coagulating Blood, Burning Embers, Noxious Breath, Eruption, and Standard of Might. Now we'll start with the ultimate first. Standard of Might. If you play a dragonknight, you know what it is. It is phenomenal. It deals damage as soon as it's dropped. It causes major defile on the enemies. It increases your damage done by 15% and reduces the damage you're taking by 15%. And it's not like a specific synergy. It's the Standard of Might synergy. So like, it can't stack off of, like, it's not like some other things where you're worried about the Oaken Soul Ring getting in the way. This is literally just from the Standard of Might. So it will just be on the top. And then if you're playing with somebody else, they can activate the synergy, dealing just about 14,000 flame damage to all the enemies in the area. Great, great ultimate. You don't have to run this. When I was in Infinite Archive, when I got later on, I would swap to Corrosive Armor, which is another one of my favorite ultimates from the dragonknight for PvE content, where you increase your max health by 3% and you deal 1,400 poison damage to everything near you for 12 seconds. And while that ability is up, you ignore physical and spell resistance. Your attacks ignore physical and spell resistance, but you can't generate ultimate. So while you're not getting ultimate at that time, your attacks while having this out just pierce everything. And if you're in Infinite Archive in the late stages, you know that their resistances are sky high, trial marked. So it gets rough. That lets you cut them down much faster. It is a great ultimate for late game solo content, and that's why I'm just bringing it up now. So for the other skills, Eruption, you set it down, forget it. It lasts for 18 seconds, deals 13 flame damage to everything in the area for a second, snares them by 70%. It deals 7,200 flame damage immediately, like an explosion, and the explosion happens every 10 seconds, so it will happen twice. So it's a great skill to use. Noxious Breath, when you cast it, it does 7,100 poison damage and an additional 19,000 poison damage over 24 seconds. And the reason we're using it is because that bottom part, it inflicts them with Major Breach, which reduces their spell and physical resistance by 5,900. That is paramount to the build because it just makes them weaker. And then we're running Burning Embers. This is our version of the Crit Surge from the Sork, where it does 4,940 flame damage up front and an additional 22,488 over 24 seconds. And that you heal for 110% of that. So what you do is you run up and you set this down, and then with that, it's just, it's just like the crit surge, where you have to like get the ticks. But basically, this heals us for over 1,000 health a second, and because when you break it down, it's like 900 and something per second damage for the 22,000 over 24 seconds. Then we're doing 110% of that, so we're getting healed for just about 1,000 a second, and you can set this on everything in front of you. So if you're in, like I was using this in Infinite Archive, you'd run up and set it on a few enemies, so your health is just ticking up the whole time. So that is a great skill to use. It doesn't cost a lot, and since we're using a staff and heavy attacking, we always have magic, and that's why we have that, and that's why it's a just crucial part of the build. Coagulating Blood, I mean, it's just one of the best heals in the game. You heal for 10,000 and increasing up to 50% of additional health based on your missing health. So, like, massive heal. Basically, get out of jail free card, and you get Major Fortitude, increasing your healing recovery by your health recovery by 30% for 20 seconds. I mean, it's great to just keep up all the time. And then of course, since it's a heavy attack build, we are using Blockade of Storms. I advocate for this version, especially in the way it is now. It just lasts a lot longer. It's a massive AoE, and although Unstable Wall does explode, if you're doing later game content and harder content, I personally think it's worth not dealing with the shorter cast time and just keeping this up, because the few seconds you have in between having to recast, you can literally just keep heavy attacking. So I don't know. I just personally like Blockade of Storms. You can definitely do Unstable Wall. Like I mentioned, this is not a min-maxed hyper-meta build. It is an off-meta build. It is a Dragon Knight heavy attack. Don't come at my neck for using Blockade of Storms. You're watching a video about a heavy attack Dragon Knight. That's what we're both doing today. So, for our champion points, I'm using Deadly Aim, Weapons Expert, Master at Arms, Exploiter. Very basic heavy attack blues. For red, I'm running Celerity, Rejuvenation, Fortified, Boundless Vitality. Simple. If you're going to use it for Infinite Archive, you could definitely run like Slippery, because there's a lot of stuff in there after like Arc 2 that's going to start trying to snare you or knock you up. That helps out a lot because it auto breaks you free every like 20 seconds, I think. But it's a great one. So on to the star of the show, the sets. So we are running Sergeant, of course. Oaken Soul. I don't know why that came undone. Oaken Soul, infused, weapon damage. Sergeant, infused. Well, I'm running Bloodthirsty. You can definitely run Bloodthirsty or infused. I'm running Bloodthirsty because it's cheaper. With weapon damage enchant. And then Lightning Staff at the Sergeant. Precise, shock enchant. You want the shock definitively because that gives a better chance of getting the concussion, which then off balance. So, just one of the things. And then for our other set, we are running a one-piece Zons for the critical chance. I'm pretty sure Slime Craw is better, but I had a Zons Divines golded already, so that's what I'm using. But I'm pretty sure Slime Craw will give you a little bit higher. Use whatever you want, but you just want one with a crit chance. That's all you're looking for. And then we are running Deadly. So my Deadly set is, I have one piece that's Divines. It's mostly off trait because Deadlies is expensive, and this was just a tossed together set that I wanted to make because I wanted to play a Dragon Knight, and I wanted to do a heavy attack one. So we're doing this because it increases the damage of our damage over time and channeled effects by 15%. And, as we just looked at, damage over time, damage over time, damage over time, damage over time. All of our skills are damage over time. So this is, that's why everything has such high numbers. That's it. That's the reason we're running Deadly. That's it. That's the whole build. We are running Deadly. It comes in mediums. There's nothing else you can use. We already touched on that. In a perfect world, all of these would be divine and golden with magic enchants. But I didn't want to, like, as you can see, most of my stuff is on trait for my core Sergeant's items, but Deadly is expensive, so I didn't do it, and I don't have the transmute gems right now, guys. But this is the set I've been running, and I figured that you would like it because I know there's a big Dragon Knight fan base. I'm one of them. I love the Dragon Knight, and right now it's not in the best place. So I just wanted to give everyone a little, a little something that's easy. You can get on your Dragon Knight and go do harder content. It's off meta for sure, but like, who cares? And this is as easy as rotation is. All we do, Wall of Elements, Burning Embers, start heavy attacking. Flame Breath, keep heavy attacking. Ashes, keep heavy attacking. That's it. That's all we're doing. As you can see, we're hitting good. This is it. Yeah, you're not hitting something perfectly golden or amazing, but we are hitting for a whole lot. That's a lot of DOT numbers. You do have to get a little bit used. If you have auto cast on, it makes that makes your eruption cast a little bit better, but that's it. That's the rotation. And now you're using a heavy attack Dragon Knight. Now, of course, like I said, if you're going to go Infinite Archive or solo content, you do want to set your